to the Cavs. So let's talk about those two potential concepts in today's live stream. So the first thing I want to talk about is a report came out today that we all know the Knicks are looking for a new head coach, right? We see, all the coaches they've been calling up for, Jason Kidd, Billy Donovan, the list goes on and on. And now they have apparently interviewed Mike Brown and Taylor Jenkins. But there is someone else who could potentially be in the running, and that is Dawn Staley. And if you don't know who that is, she is someone who is the coach of the South Carolina women's basketball team, and they have won 3 national championships since she has been their head coach, and she's won the Coach of the Year award 4 times since she's been there as well. And prior to that, she also played in the WNBA. Like, she has a long career of being around the game of basketball. A long, successful coaching career, like I just mentioned, and a successful playing career and stuff like that. So she is someone who definitely knows the game, right? So it's very interesting that the Knicks could make history if they happen to hire her. Now, I don't know if she is the top candidate right now, for the job. To be honest, I don't even know who the top candidate is. We don't even know who the top candidate is. A lot of people still assume they want Jason Kidd, but we'll see what happens there. However, Dawn Staley could make history because she, if she was hired, would become the first woman coach in the NBA ever. There has never been a head coach in the NBA that has been a woman. And so the Knicks could make history with this. And it would be a really awesome opportunity for the first woman head coach to coach the Knicks to a potential finals run. Like, just paint the storyline here. The first coach in NBA history who is a woman, who, again, it's not about genders to me. Like, I feel like whoever is the most qualified for the job should get the job and stuff like that. I feel like that's how it should always work. I don't think it should ever have to do with genders. Whoever is, the smartest, most qualified, regardless of, anything to do with you. But just with that being said, there has never been a female woman head coach in NBA history. So imagine the storyline of her getting hired after Tibbs gets fired, and she takes this Knicks team to the NBA Finals and wins a championship. Could you imagine, like all of that happening in one season? That would be so incredible for so many reasons. So, I don't know, again, if she's a top candidate for the job. I don't know if, I don't even know if she's been interviewed yet or anything like that. I'm just saying, there could be a lot of history made. First woman head coach in the NBA ever. First Knicks championship since the 1970s. Jalen Brunson will most definitely get a statue retired if he wasn't already for leading the Knicks to the NBA Finals and getting Finals MVP. We would assume he gets Finals MVP. So, there is a lot of interesting storylines that could go with that. So shout out to her. And again, I don't know if she's top candidate. I don't know, who's going to end up being the coach. But it is definitely something interesting, that they have apparently reached out and are considering her. So with that being said, the other thing I want to talk about is LeBron and the Cavs. Now, I have not been one to be on the LeBron is going back to the Cavs train. I think there was always a possibility that he could retire a Cav, but the path never seemed plausible, in recent seasons, stuff like that. It just didn't seem realistic, and especially with Bronny getting drafted and stuff like that. I don't think he wants to leave Bronny by himself. And he has a lot of, business out there and all that kind of stuff. But what's interesting to me is, do you know what happened today in the NBA trade world? Well, what happened today is that the Cavs traded for Lonzo Ball. They traded Isaac Okoro for Lonzo Ball. And why this is interesting to me is not the reason I feel like a lot of people are thinking. So right now, a lot of people are thinking, oh, Lonzo is going to be the backup point guard, which, listen, when Lonzo's healthy, this could be an incredible trade for the Cavs, by the way, let me just say. Because Lonzo is a pretty pure point guard, which when he's healthy and stuff like that, he was shooting 40% from 3. I know his numbers were down this season, of course, but a really good defender. He's like 6'7". Like, he's pretty much what a lot of NBA teams look for in a point guard. But obviously the concern is his health, and that is why. And I didn't understand, because when I looked at the trade and I saw, people's comments and stuff like that, and I saw a lot of people were kind of clowning the Bulls in a way and thinking like, oh, they didn't get a lot for Lonzo. In terms of Lonzo's actual talent and what he was, let's say in like 2021, of course, that's not a lot for Lonzo. But you have to remember, he is coming off 3 knee surgeries. Like, it was to the point where people thought he would never play again. It wasn't like even maybe one person brought that up. It was multiple people, sources, like people thought he was literally never going to play again. Obviously, he fought back, and good for him, and I'm happy for him that he is healthy now and able to play. But like, there was legitimate concern he would never play again. So because of that, this was his first season having, first of all, playing some games, but like being healthy somewhat. So like, I know that apparently they got a first-round pick at the trade deadline for Lonzo, but my personal opinion, this is my personal opinion, I think getting Isaac Okoro is better than that first-round pick potentially. Now, I believe that first-round pick is the same pick that the Pelicans just traded to Atlanta, which means it could be a top lottery pick because it's the more favorable pick of the two between New Orleans and the Bucks for 2026. So shout out to the Pelicans, even though they got unlucky with the Pacers trade from the other day, giving the Pacers back their 2026 unprotected pick. But they got a little lucky here because they were able to actually keep that pick from the trade deadline, apparently, that they were going to give to the Bulls and use it to trade up in the draft to get Derek Queen, who they really, really wanted. So with that being said, I understand people are like, oh, but a first-round pick. But the thing about the Bulls is, like, in recent years, they have not been the best at drafting. And nobody knew, okay, people speculated, Milwaukee and Giannis might be out sometime soon, potentially. But, like, at that time, it still seemed like Giannis was going to stay. And Damian Lillard did not tear his Achilles at that time. So, like, because they had just brought in Dame, it didn't seem like Giannis was leaving anytime soon. So, the Bulls were just like, we'll just have to hope that, New Orleans is not as, is pretty good. Like, people didn't think the Bucks were going to be a lottery team at that point. So, like, I don't think it's fair to be like, they gave up a lottery pick from the Bucks if Giannis gets traded. It wasn't a guarantee that Giannis was going to be traded at that point. And it's not even a guarantee now either, but, like, it's definitely more likely. So with that being said, regarding the Bulls picks though, like, they have not, and it's not even necessarily the players' fault either, but like, they have not been the best at drafting players. Even someone like Lauri Markkanen, who they drafted and was very good his rookie season when they drafted him, and then all of a sudden it's just like, I don't know what the problem was. I don't know if, he wasn't being utilized properly in the lineups and stuff like that. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the environment. I don't know if it was the roster. Like, I don't know what it was. But we see Lauri Markkanen goes to the Utah Jazz and becomes an all-star, and he doesn't look like he's having any problems. You know what I'm saying? So, like, sometimes when you go to the wrong place, it ends up kind of changing the trajectory of your career and stuff like that. So, like, they have drafted talented players, but for some reason it hasn't really worked out in recent seasons the way they thought. And so I agree more so with getting someone like Isaac Okoro, who's a proven really good defender, and he's been working on his shot, although he's not the best at it, but he's been working on it. And he's someone who at least is going to have certain skill sets. Like, I feel like sometimes, especially when you're not the best, at least in recent, NBA seasons, the best at drafting, now you know who you're getting. Like, I would rather, if I'm the Bulls, again, not knowing Giannis was going to be traded necessarily at that point, and even then, we still don't know, but, like, I would rather get a proven guy, so at least I know what I'm bringing in, rather than try to draft somebody which they tried to do every single year and it hasn't worked out for them the way they wanted. Because apparently Kobe White is even on the trading block, and he's improved really, really much. Really, really much. He's improved a lot. So the fact that even someone like Kobe White is on the trading block, apparently, like, just goes to show you, like, it's better for them to trade for a player, in my opinion, right now, than to get a first-round pick for Lonzo. That's my opinion. Now, we can talk about the player they traded for. I think Isaac Okoro's a good player. Maybe you thought they could have gotten somebody better from a player standpoint, but I don't think trading for a first-round pick was the solution for them, for Lonzo. So with that being said, I think this could be an amazing trade for the Cavs if Lonzo is healthy, though, because Lonzo gives them, like I said, a pure point guard, all the stuff he does. But here's why I think it's interesting in ways that people aren't talking about. Do we know that Lonzo is actually going to be the backup point guard for the Cavs? Or is he going to be the starting point guard? Why do I say that? Well, we heard the report maybe like a month ago or so, or a few weeks ago, that the Cavs tried to trade Darius Garland for somebody. I don't remember who it was, but the report came out that they legitimately put him in a trade, conversation or whatever for a certain player, and I just don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Kevin Durant. That kind of sounds right, but I'm not sure. So it's now public information that Darius Garland was on the trading block, and there was rumors that they might trade him this summer even before that came out. Now, I'm a fan of Darius Garland. I like his game. Like, I don't know if I were the Cavs, if I want to trade him, but if the report coming out that they already put him in trade talks is true, and, he sees that and he's not happy with that too, if they end up trading Darius Garland, this is where I think this might be the scenario where LeBron comes back to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like I said, I didn't see a path before this. I didn't think it was realistic, but this is why I say it's realistic with the Lonzo trade. See, this might be a small move to make a bigger move. Because if Lonzo's healthy, he can be a starting point guard. I don't think there's any question about that. And here's the thing. If you trade Darius Garland to LA, he's a young, up-and-coming player and stuff like that. And this could actually benefit both teams because LeBron, they're reportedly he's going to opt into his player option, but now there's a little bit of question marks around that. With that being said, though, LeBron is obviously 40 years old. And as great as LeBron is, he's not 24 or whatever like Darius Garland. So having Darius Garland and Luka in your backcourt, obviously they have to do something with Austin Reeves then. That's a whole other story and stuff like that. But you get an all-star point guard and pair him with another all-star, point forward point guard, whatever you want to call Luka. So for the Lakers, they just got another all-star for LeBron who is on Luka's timeline. So then they could build the roster from there and stuff like that. So that's one thing. But for LeBron going to the Cavs, this is why I see it's a path, because now you have a point guard in Lonzo, so you didn't want to trade Darius Garland if you didn't have a point guard in return, right? Like, because then that makes no sense. You need a point guard. So they got the point guard, and LeBron can play point too, so they can, piggyback off each other, and LeBron has played with Lonzo, so LeBron knows how to play with Lonzo. Like, they were together on the Lakers. So, and the Cavs need a small forward. They do. If you think about it, the position they need is a small forward. You have DeAndre Hunter, who, if you watch his page, I'm a fan of his, but they probably want him to still be like that six-man role and stuff like that because he can provide scoring and defense off the bench, and it's just a really good fit for him and the team. So what if you have a starting lineup of Lonzo, Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen? And why this is a good fit for LeBron is because he doesn't have to be relied on too heavily to play, this top-tier defense. Although he should be playing defense, of course, with the rest of the team. But, obviously you have Evan Mobley, Defensive Player of the Year, and Jared Allen to anchor down the front court of the defense. So LeBron doesn't have to be guarding centers and stuff like that he was doing on the Lakers sometime. Like, he doesn't have to play out of position. And if for some reason that Lonzo, has to take some games off because of his knee and stuff like that, you still have LeBron who can literally play point guard because he's done that basically his whole career. So LeBron retiring a Cav may be a possibility now. And here's the other thing that I want you to think about. LeBron is from Akron. LeBron is from, no, I said Cleveland. I was right. LeBron is from Ohio, excuse me. LeBron's from Akron, Ohio, or whatever. So he's from Ohio, the state. But besides retiring as a Cav, which I'm sure would be like a dream for him, let's think about it. The East is wide open for anybody. The Bucks are in question, especially with Giannis and Dame. The Celtics are in question. We don't think they're going to be in the championship contention next year. The Pacers are in question with Tyrese Halliburton. You still got the Knicks, and you got the Magic, who definitely got better with their, trade for Desmond Bane and stuff like that. But, like, if you take that Cavs team and just take off just take off Darius Garland, rather, and you add LeBron to that team, do you not think that LeBron has a legitimate shot to go to the finals again? Because in the West, like, I don't see a path for the Lakers to go to the finals. They don't have enough financial flexibility to go out and get anybody. They don't have enough picks and stuff like that to go trade for, all these kind of roster spots. Like, if you think about it, if you really think about it, LeBron going to the Cavs, being traded for Darius Garland, and again, I don't know if they're trading Darius Garland. Again, I'm a fan of Darius, so, like, I'm not calling for him to be traded, and I'm not calling for LeBron to be traded either, and he also has a no-trade clause, so he'd have to agree to that. But if LeBron did, think about it. If LeBron wants to win another ring, that gives him a legit shot to get to the finals. Because LeBron will still be able to have his takeover moments, and you have someone like Donovan Mitchell right next to you who could drop 29 a night. Like, you have a really good roster. You have a really good coach in Kenny Atkinson. Like, you're familiar with the city, obviously. That's where you're from. I don't know. Like I said, I've never been one to feed into LeBron's going back to the Cavs thing and stuff like that, even though obviously him retiring, there would be something that would be special, I'm sure, for him. But, like, now I think there's a legit path because the Lakers also now have Luka. See, the thing is, they didn't have Luka before this year. So, like, why was LeBron going to leave when they're still building around him? Now it seems like the Lakers are building around Luka. So if that's the case, and I'm not saying that's a reason that LeBron should leave, because obviously, realistically, they should build around Luka because Luka is 25. It has nothing to do with LeBron's talent. It's just that LeBron is 40. Like, how many more years can they build around him? You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, this gives LeBron a path to retire a Cav, make the finals, maybe win another ring, because, again, coming out of the East is going to be easier than coming out of the West. And that's no disrespect to anybody in the East. We all know everybody in the NBA is talented. And you got some good teams. Like I said, the Knicks, the Orlando Magic just made a good trade. The Hawks are making some good moves. But at the same time, some of the best players in the East are down with Achilles injuries. So that takes those teams out of the running. And we don't know what's happening with Giannis yet. So I don't know. LeBron to the Cavs doesn't sound too unrealistic to me if the Cavs are going to trade Darius Garland. So someone said, what if he goes back to the Heat? I can't see him going back to the Heat. They're not ready to contend right now because they would have to trade for LeBron too, because he's going to opt into his player option most likely. I don't see him going back there. I feel like the only team he would, like, change LA for would be the Cavs, just because that's his hometown. That's the only team I could see him leaving LA for. And even then, I don't know if he's leaving LA. Like, he might be like, you have to take Bronny with me to the Cavs. So, I don't know. It's just an interesting thought. So, keep that in mind. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this live stream, and see you soon.